you, sir. There we go. There's a good one. Yeah, getting a little bigger. Alrighty, folks. About 4:15 a.m. That old saying, you don't leave fish to find fish. Today, another day out on the California Delta. We're heading back, as you just saw. Had some decent success there last time. No giant fish, but found some consistent punch fish. Of course, it was a lot of fun, and then we even caught a few solid ones on a spinnerbait. But man, oh man, this has been a tough year, and I can't emphasize this enough. Earlier in this year, in January and February, over the course of 4 trips out on the Delta, 4 skunks, super tough. Blamed it on the weather. I thought, and I think everyone else thought, well, just gotta wait till March. March, it'll get better. March rolls around, not any better. We said, it's still kind of weird. Just gotta wait till April. April for sure it'll get better. April comes around, started to get a few fish, but definitely not typical April fishing on the Delta. Everyone's like, oh, well, you know, May for sure is gonna be the month where just bust wide open. You'll be able to catch them on anything out there, giant fish, post-spawn fish, spawning fish. It'll be great. May comes along, and I think maybe there was a couple of days where you could catch some big ones, but overall, May almost seemed to be a step backwards, and May got tough as well for the most part. And now here we are, into summer, end of June, early July, and I'd say the bite has picked up, but a lot of small fish. A lot of small fish in the system, not a lot of big ones, and that's from my experience and from what I'm hearing. You see it in all the tournament weights out there. The Delta is fishing funky, and these big fish are just not showing up. Now, there could be a number of reasons for that, but all I know is that right now, the Delta being so vast, such a large body of water, such an expansive fishery, I would typically go to a different area to try my luck, but last trip, I don't know, not a bad day out on the water, so I'm not going to leave fish to find fish. What I'm actually going to do is head back there, and it's a pretty big particular area with a lot to offer. We're going to head back there and try to expand on it, look at some other things, fish some different stuff. I'll say this, the big reason for this is because we've got another tournament coming up, probably the biggest one of the year as far as stakes go. It's a 2-day event on the California Delta, Yakabass and KBF, and we'll dive into that in the next couple of videos, but today is really, for me personally, serving as a practice day, something that I can use for hopefully the tournament. This area I'm just about sold on, which is crazy to think. I've pre-fished here many a times. It looks good on paper, but never had any real luck or success there. I don't know, maybe that's the deal. All the areas that were tough on the Delta in the past are maybe the better areas now. And just to mix it up and kind of for a good reference for practice for the tournament is we'll be measuring catch, photo, release, how we do it in the kayak tournaments, our best 5 fish. And I'll say this, if we get 80 inches or more today, I think our practice location is pretty much solidified. Gonna load up the kayak, make the hour drive, unload the kayak, launch the boat, make the 45-minute run to the area, and go fishing. Stay tuned. I didn't even want to start here, but dude, I've said this before. The spot I want to get to first thing in the morning, hardly ever make it there in one shot. I always see something I need to throw at. And this would be that spot. Got a high tide right now. Really high tide, and I think it's just starting to drop. It's going to be dropping like all day. Like for 6 hours, just a straight tide drop. This water is way up in those tules right now. Probably about 6-7 hours from now, won't even be able to throw a frog up there. Let's get the spot a shot real quick. A little opening to this island here. Had a few spinnerbait fish bite last time. Nothing big, but some keepers. I'm gonna get a few more bites here. Might be a good little secondary pattern. Little openings on a moving tide with a spinnerbait. There's a bite right there. A spinnerbait. Felt like a good bite too. I'm surprised I didn't get it. Another short strike in this thing. I think. I'm just hitting the rocks. No, it's not. Minor fish. Okay, I was not sure if I was just maybe hitting some rocks or what. They are fish biting. A small one though. Need to find the better quality. Let's say on a normal year that'd be like 17, 18-inch fish, but right now I'd say that's a 14, 15-inch fish. Having areas where you know you can catch keepers is a big confidence booster out on the Delta. This could be one of those potential backup areas if we need a bite or want to try to slow down. We know there's some fish that exist here. That feels like a keeper. No, they're just slamming it. Oh, it is a keeper. Hi. Like I know. Yeah. Is that a keeper? I think that is a 12-incher. No, it's not. 11 3/4. Thought for sure he'd go. Now, if these were bigger bites, I'd be very happy. Still eating a blade though. How are they all this small? These fish were born last year. I gotta look at this as a positive though, because the other thing I've been hearing too, and this is the thing with summer Delta fishing, I mean, yeah, you might not go crack 15 plus pounds every time you're out, but usually, historically, you can come out with a drop shot, like a top water, and catch a bunch of little ones, like we're doing right now. But that's the thing, that hasn't been happening. So not only are the big fish eluding us, but it's those, you know, 30 dink days that you can depend on to at least make your trip worthwhile out here that are also eluding us. So I don't know, maybe take these dinks as a little bit of a positive. Definitely saw something just bust right there. There we go. Confidence boost right there. Man, felt huge. I'm marking all these potential tournament spots. All right, what do we say? 80 inches is our benchmark to really kind of solidify this as the tournament spot. And that fish right there is a 13.5-inch fish. So not even on pace to get 80 inches. It's gonna be tough. Typically that's a 16-inch average fish to get 80 inches for 5 best. But typically what happens on the Delta, oh, area's stacked. It's the same size fish. Typically what happens out on the Delta, as I was saying, to keeper, is you'll catch 13 to 15-inch fish, and then like 120-incher, and that gets you right to 80 inches. So, you know, these fish are actually not a bad thing. But with that said, if we don't catch, you know, one big one today, I won't love it. And we certainly won't hit that 80-inch mark. But I like this little area right here. We definitely found a little spot where we can get some bites. And maybe just, it'll so happen to be on tournament day, a big one will show up. These fish are feeding. Like these little shad, we saw them last time, these little tiny bait fish. I don't know if there's like a shad spawn going on right now. I mean, you don't really see anything, or I haven't seen anything busted on top. The other thing to keep note of, and very important note of, is the tide. We're at a really high tide like I mentioned this morning. I looked at the tide for this weekend. There won't be a single point during our 2-day tournament where the tide will be this high. So these conditions, this water level I'm dealing with right now, I won't see this on tournament day. Neither of the days. Sometimes these fish will only slide up in these spots when the tide's just right. Ooh, that actually was a keeper, I think. It's kind of long and skinny. Huh. They're stacked here. I mean, can't complain. Catching them on a moving bait. I ain't gonna keep. Maybe the delta is finally turning around, because this is what you'd kind of expect. Like I said in the summer, getting numbers. Numbers is always fun with the opportunity for a big fish. There's a big one, I can tell. Oh boy, I think we found our starting spot. Oh, that's a real big one. Yeah, there's our kicker for the day. If I can get him in. Oh, got way too much line out. Like always. Jeez Louise, it's a big fish. That's why I get a long net right there. Oh yeah, dang it. 7:05. We have solidified where we're fishing the tournament. Could be a good thing, could be a bad thing, but with bites mixed in with a big one, that's exactly what you want out here. That's a really big one too. Holy smokes. That's a monster. I guess the big ones still exist out here. Oh boy. Wow, that's a big old mouth, dude. Oh my god, that's way bigger than I thought. I got my scale with me, so we'll get a weight on her. See? That's what can happen out here, right there. Holy crap. I don't think I've caught a fish like that in a long time. It's way bigger than I thought. 23 1/4. Holy smokes, man. It's gotta be a 7, right? That's a big old fish, man. Do this quick. These fish back in the water as soon as you can. But I know a lot of you guys would yell at me if I didn't get a weight on her. Yeah, she's bouncing around. 758. Big fish of the year. Biggest fish I've caught in a long time. There's a toad right there. Alright, the Delta Giants still exist. Alright, girl, thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was cool. Should probably mark this little spot right here. And a 3-star fish. We caught the tank. Man, oh man, what a bite. What a bite. Man, Funny thing is, I didn't even think that was that big. I thought we had like a 3-pounder on. Honestly, until we put our hand on it, I had no idea it was that big. I'm treating it like it was no big deal. If I knew exactly how big it was, I probably would have been freaking out a lot more. I was hoping this area would work out. And again, things can change so fast out here. Every day's different. But what I do like about this area, and I probably mentioned it, but this area offers a lot. The island, surrounding islands, smaller islands, isolated tule patches, hyacinth, you know, primrose stuff you can punch. I know there's a bluegill spawn going on in here, so if this stuff doesn't work, you have other options. I feel like there's so many places in the Delta that you're dependent on one bite, one particular area, one particular stretch, and if it's not on, you're SOL, especially from a kayak. So areas like this, areas like Frank's Tract, big areas, for tournaments at least, those are areas I've really tried to put my time in and get something going. And even more so on a 2-day tournament. Man. That's a keeper. That is a keeper. So I got to do the math, but even with like 4 12-inchers, we might be at 80 inches. It doesn't matter at this point. It really doesn't. I know, I'm 99% sure we're coming here. The only thing that has me tripped up is this tide being so high right now. It's not going to be like this, especially first thing in the morning on Saturday. Oh man! Shoot! I knew there'd be one right there. You see all this junk, little tiny bit of hyacinth right there. And that's where they were sitting. I don't think it was very big, but it's a good mat right here. Good mat we can come back to on tournament day. Should be another fish under there. Alright, punch bite is maybe still on. In theory, there should be one right here. Not there, but this next little patch. Oh, there's one right there. I was looking at the other patch right there, that hyacinth. Maybe the delta's changed. Maybe it's not just this area. Maybe the bite's pretty good everywhere. I believe that's keeper number 5. Punch bite, lovely. This is exactly how you want a practice day to go. 13.75. Well, I think according to my calculations, at what, basically 4 13-inchers on average, I think. Maybe a 14-inch average. 56, 76. I think we're right around 80 inches, guys. And really, thanks just to that one big fish. Man, keepers are cool in my mind. Again, unless like the delta has really made a turning point and the bite's good everywhere. Just don't know about that. not going to complain, but I do wish these would get a little bigger. You know, even with that big one today, we really haven't caught anything of size. Nothing at all, basically. I don't think we've even broke 15 inches. Could we? Could. Give it a shot. Who knows? Where's cooking up there? Oh, okay. Little drop shot meat chunk. Just kind of saw the spot, stopped, looked good. Thinking, you know what, let's throw a drop shot in there instead of a frog. Now, are there any big ones? That's the question. Hey, buddy. Nice to see ya. Okay. Gave it a little dangle. Man, still small. Big old carp. There we go. Tide is gonna take that out of water, that opening, in about an hour. No! Oh, goodness. That felt like a better one for sure. Sweet punch area. That's what I'm talking about right there. That's why we're punching right there. See these in the grass? That's actually a small one. That's why we're punching grass. Crawfish eaters. And that's just one that was dead on the surface. You can imagine how many are underneath these mats. There's a Delta dink just with some salad. I'll take that back, please. There's not many places you can throw the drop shot. It's just the grass is so grown up and not as many clean spots. But if I find one, I'm sure gonna throw to it. Never know. Could be a giant sitting in there too. Harbor bass. Oh, it is a bass. Wow, that's a huge bass. Dang it. Fish over here. worth checking. Another important part of practice, eliminating water that you would have potentially wasted valuable time on during the tournament had you not checked it out during practice. That's a striper, right? Right? Yep. Surprised we hadn't caught a striper yet. All these good targets up against the inner side of this island. It's just too low. Can't fish them. All that grass is kind of matted up now. I think it depends on certain areas too, but low tide in these particular areas where I found some spinnerbait fish might be a problem. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to conclude the day. About 7-8 hours out on the water, and as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, the idea was to expand on a part of the delta, an area of the delta that we had a little bit of success last time, see if we could explore a few more adjacent areas, figure out a bait, a technique, a certain bite, a certain tide, and I think we got a lot of information today. Got there pretty early, launched the boat around 5:15, made the 30-40 minute run to the first area that I wanted to fish, that big island. Big tide swing today as well. We had a really high tide to start, dropping pretty much all day, right up until the end. Went right into that first little cut, just as we did last time. Figured, let's see if they're still here. Let's see if there's still fish setting up with this current. See if they're gonna eat a blade bait. And it didn't take long. We got a few bites on it, some short fish, eating the spinnerbait. Not a problem, just wanted to see if the fish were still there. And the bites seemed to get a little bit better, somewhat deceptively. These fish were fighting pretty good and they felt a lot bigger, but some small keepers to put in the boat. We kept going down that one stretch. I think the big moment, the highlight of the day for sure, and maybe even the highlight of the year as far as fish catches go, was the big one. Big old Delta beast. Finally hooked into one. Threw that blade right in there, started reeling back. I think I even dropped it accidentally. But that fish ate the bait on the drop, hooked into it, felt a lot bigger than the other ones. Did the old premature net job. It was a little sloppy, but luckily we got that fish in the net. 23¼ inches, 7.5 pounds. Definitely big fish of the year. One of the bigger fish that I've honestly caught in my life, so awesome to have that fish on a spinnerbait. And more importantly, one of the key ingredients for me with pre-fishing, especially on the delta, is finding an area that not only has fish but some big fish, some quality fish in the mix. So that one right there, put a little check mark next to that box. But after that, I think we caught a few more on the spinnerbait, broke a few off unfortunately, and then just kind of messed around, found some areas that I really wanted to punch, and that was the idea going into today. I thought that the punch bite of anything would be the one that I really wanted to see what kind of quality we could get out of it. And we caught some fish on the punch, same old deal, 1.25 ounce weight, 2 pegs, 3/0 flipping hook, Berkeley pit boss, green pumpkin, purple flake, and these fish were positioned under the mats. I think this tide continually dropping helped suck a lot of them under those mats, and if we found the right mat, the right combination of grass in the right area, we'd get bit. So covering a lot of water, getting bit on the punch, nothing huge, happy that that bite is still alive. And after that we kind of scrambled, junk fished a little bit, caught a few on the drop shot. I think we caught a few more spinnerbait fish, and I think by this time the tide is really getting low, the wind is up and down, and the bite just seemed to get tougher throughout the day. That morning bite when the water was high was really nice, and everything after that was kind of just random for the most part. That is the information that we gathered today. I think it was a solid day of practice. I did say at the beginning of this video, if we hit 80 inches, that would be a definite place to go to, just based on how tough the delta's fishing. I don't think we actually hit 80 inches, but today's day in combination with the last trip there, I'm pretty satisfied with what it has to offer, what we can do to try to hopefully get the better quality fish, and it'll just be kind of luck of the draw deal. But I will spend one more full day out on the delta. I'm not sure exactly where. We'll go somewhere different, see what that has to offer, see if we can replicate some bites, and who knows, maybe it'll even be better. Guys, that is the video for today. Today did seem like a turning point as far as numbers go, and obviously at least a couple of good fish, so hopefully the delta's turning back on. But as always, I thank you guys for watching, for coming along, and I'll see you guys in the next video.